everybody. Sorry about not being on for the last month. I had some health issues decide to rear their ugly head, and Murphy decided to mess with my technology quite a few times over the last few weeks. Well, got the health issues under control and got Murphy back in his box, or at the very least sent to another location. So hopefully we can go and get a nice, good show for you guys tonight. I had put out invites to a few panel members, but so far no one has shown up. Um, in the chat, if somebody could let me know if I'm coming through clearly or if I'm coming through muffled and just unreadable. Well, until I get some feedback, I'm just going to let you all know the intended topic for tonight is the history of the commercial holiday that, thank you, Ray Pacheco, and thank you, MM43. The intended topic for tonight is the history of the commercial holiday that we just ended up living through within the last few weeks, and that is Valentine's Day. For modern Americans and modern Europeans, today is pretty much just a sappy day or this holiday is just a sappy day to go spend way too much on flowers, cards, chocolates, and hopefully get a date for those people that aren't in a relationship, and hopefully get a little bit of action for those that are in a relationship. Well, going to go over a little bit of the history. Also have some numbers on historical plans for Valentine's Day here in the United States. And by historical, I'm talking, I have a graph that actually shows some of the numbers of individuals that may or may not actually have gotten any success. And hopefully some of the other guys show up so that way we can get a conversation going on this. Otherwise, it's going to be a real short, real boring stream. So I'm going to do a screen share real quick of an article from, of all places, National Public Radio, their website. That's not need. Actually, we're going to go to the numbers first, because I think this is pretty telling. What the fart? Okay, so it's not going to let me show the numbers. But basically, what this chart shows, if it would have worked, is that Valentine's Day celebrations, as a rule, seem to be going down over the last few years. There's been a couple of spikes post-COVID and pre-COVID, but on the whole, Valentine's Day has been losing its luster for at least the last 20 years. The high point on the chart that I had access to was in 2007, where almost 60% of respondents to polls actually had plans for Valentine's Day, going down to right around 50% this year. So since that particular chart decided it wanted to fight me, we are instead going to jump over to the history of this, which, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. This one's weird, at least compared to what we normally see it as today. Okay. Dark origins of Valentine's Day. Now, the festival origin is actually very much more akin to 50 Shades of Grey than it is to Romeo. Well, actually, Romeo and Juliet would also work for that, but it's much more 50 Shades of Grey and much less everyone hooking up for fun and festivities. The most likely starting point for this particular holiday was ancient Rome, where they celebrated from the 13th to the 14th, or from the 13th to the 15th of February, a feast called Lupercalia, where men would sacrifice a goat and a dog, and then use the hides of these animals to accost young women, cleaning up the language to make it YouTube friendly. I'm not going to go all the way down on this. Now, women would actually agree to this because they figured it would make them feral, or not feral, but fertile. Although feral would probably also work in some cases. Now, the even more messed up part of this, and this might be the origin of the Be My Valentine thing, is the Romans actually did a lottery where single men and women, or at least I hope they'd be single, would be paired off where or women would put their names into a jar and younger men would go and pick the names out of a jar. Um, they would be coupled up for the duration of the festival or allegedly longer if the match was right. Now, this was eventually declared to be a pagan practice by the Catholic Church, which ironically enough, the same organization that declared this entire practice, yeah, Slick South, that's exactly what it was. But, and here's where it gets funny. The same organization that basically said, no, you can't do that, this is against the will of the Lord, they put a saint's name on it and declared it to be a day of celebration in a quote unquote godly context. There's a few other names for it. We're not going to jump on all of those because honestly, they're going to drive all of us crazy trying to figure them out. Um, over time, it eventually metastasized into something where men and women, typically men, would go and buy sweet little gifts and send messages to girls that they were interested in and hopefully get their attention. Some of it actually would work and other times not so much. But then again, we all know how the story has ended. Because if you went to Walmart anytime in the last 2 months, you couldn't help but get slammed in the face with all sorts of of Valentine's fornicationary, as Jimmy would say in a slightly more cleaned up fashion. Because everywhere you looked, it was either some kind of chocolate heart or sappy love note or oversized stuffed animal. Aaron Clary, Cappy, has done a really nice economic breakdown video on the cost of Valentine's Day and how it is skyrocketed, even taking into consideration inflation in the modern world. So I'm not going to try hitting those numbers up. And since none of the guys that were invited to join the panel have shown up yet, here in a second, I'm going to drop the link into the chat. So if anyone else has a decent microphone set up and would like to have a conversation on the topic, you're welcome to come in. All I ask is that you have a decent microphone setup, a YouTube friendly avatar, and just try to keep the language down to what would be acceptable for modern day television. Okay, so the link is dropped into the chat. If any of you would like to pop in, like I said, just got to have a YouTube friendly screen name and audio avatar minimum. I'm not going to ask you to go on camera because, as you can see, I'm not on camera. Hey, we finally got someone to jump in. Welcome,
Yo,
Outlaw.
what's up, brother?
Yeah, not much. How much of what was already said did you hear?
I just got here, brother, so I have
Okay,
no.
well, Cliff Notes version. Just got done going over the ancient origin of the Valentine's Day celebration,
Mm-hmm.
which is thought to go back to ancient Rome. Which actually, let me ask you this, since I know you enjoy certain elements of history. How do
Yeah.
you think it started?
Hmm. How did Valentine's Day start? Hmm. Well, probably a simping man wanting to woo his fair maiden with chocolates and gifts, and somebody's like,
Actually, no.
hmm,
It's much more 50 Shades of Grey than that.
interesting.
Apparently, the Roman festival of Lupercalia, which is
Yeah.
the closest equivalent to Valentine's Day that has been found in the ancient world,
Yeah.
um, was celebrated February 13th, 14th, and 15th, where men would sacrifice a goat and a dog and then lashed out, let's just say, because we don't want to use the exact terminology on YouTube and get slapped,
Right.
at ladies with the hides of these animals.
Interesting.
This particular festival also included a matchmaking lottery in which young men would draw the names of young women from a jar, where they would be coupled up for the duration of the festival, assuming, of course, they didn't decide that they wanted to go longer on that. And ladies would actually agree to this because they thought it would make them more fertile.
That's interesting. I didn't know all that.
Yeah. And the same group of people that we now associate with Valentine's Day being a quote unquote religious holiday is the same group of people that actually made it illegal in the first place. When the Catholic Church basically said it was a pagan practice and should not be done, but then at the same time did a festival of quote unquote romance and love with the name of two individuals by the name of Valentine that were martyred on or about February 14th.
Hmm.
Not
Interesting.
exactly the sunshine and rainbows we would all expect from the way the day is sold to everybody now, is it?
No, not really. Ain't.
It almost makes you wonder just how crazy things were in the ancient world where a festival like that was considered a good idea.
Yeah, for real.
Hmm. So now I know you didn't really do anything to celebrate Valentine's because of your screen name and your stance when it comes to relationships.
No, I look at Valentine's Day as just another wasted
Scam.
time. It's just another, yeah, it's just another corporate, consumerism holiday. It's
It is a nightmare. Now, after what I just told you about its origin, how far they have fallen or how high have they risen, in your opinion?
they've fallen a great deal. Yeah.
It almost sounds like the original version of it, they had a purpose in mind for it. Whether that purpose was
Mhm.
good or not, I'm going to say that's in the eye of the beholder.
Well, the intentions probably started out Well, based on what you've told me, I would say probably not so innocent, but um, they
They probably didn't,
probably go ahead.
they probably didn't start out quote unquote innocent. But I would say they probably weren't as sinister as what we currently experience from the modern dating marketplace.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I jumped in on what you were going to say and said essentially the same darn thing.
Yeah. About yeah. That's pretty much what I was going to say. The intentions back in those times probably started out as more of an innocent type thing in context, but in practice, it's quite a different thing. Um, yeah, I mean, over time, people got greedy. People wanted to make a business off of it, and just is what it is, man.
Oh,
It's
so in other
actually
words, to borrow a line from a particular drunk grunt, are you saying that evil hairless monkeys did evil hairless monkey things?
yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. MM 43. Yeah, it actually is. Yeah, just another holiday to sap them into their money. Yeah.
at least that's what it's turned into.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like I said, the original intent apparently was a basically a fertility ritual,
Hmm.
which part of it I can kind of understand the concept of, because if you're living in a society that doesn't understand basic medical science, I I guess it would make some kind of logical sense that if you got slapped with the shape or with the relieved skin of a goat or dog's carcass that you would that would make you a little bit more likely to bear offspring, but not sure how that leap of logic occurred.
Mm.
But in the ancient world, I guess they came up with all sorts of crazy stuff for pretty much everything. Well, unfortunately, I was hoping that there'd be a few others here so we could actually get a good interactive conversation going.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess I need to start moving my stream later in the evening, closer to where Jimmy and Rhino like to do theirs.
It was made to try and maintain a population, keep it up. Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense there, MM 43, especially when you consider the fact that way back in well, actually even the late 1800s, it was really common for women to pass on during childbirth, and men were frequently being taken off of the census through things like farming accidents and hunting accidents. Not even
Mm.
talking about building the house, just getting the stuff to keep a family fed in a house.
Yep.
So yeah, that I suppose there's some logic there.
Well, you would think now with the population beginning to decline over here, the birth rates in the West, you would think that it would be a lot more something that they're trying to urge people to do, but they're not going to. They
Well,
got a
no,
lot of. Go ahead.
what they're going to do is they're going to try instituting a bachelor tax before they start doing anything that even smells like a quote unquote fertility ritual.
Right.
Because we we all know they're not going to give a flying fart what's going on at street level until it starts impacting their bottom line and making it where they cannot buy a 15th house that year.
Yep. Well, they're already taxing the bachelors. I mean, look at your average job right now out here. If you're a single man working in one of these bigger factory jobs or anything like that, they already take a percentage of your wages just for being a
Oh,
bachelor.
oh yeah. Hey Tommy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm here, man.
Are
So
you
if
sure?
anything, go ahead, brother.
No, Tommy, are you sure you're here?
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Look at the screen.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
You're
just because I
invisible.
didn't do this. There we go. I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, what they'll do is they'll increase the amount of what the tax costs out of your paycheck or what have you. You know, they'll keep taking more and more and more until people just have enough of it.
So what you're essentially saying is they're going to try instituting something akin to a child support on married dudes or unmarried dudes, I mean.
Yeah, they hit guys very hard who are single.
I'm not going to deny that. I actually straight up asked my tax preparer one year how on earth it was that a single guy like myself was not eligible or was making an incredibly low amount of money, yet not considered eligible for earned income tax credit.
Hmm. You don't have kids.
Whereas a lot of the system surfers out there, they're making a lot more bank than I did at the time, and they were getting a huge amount back from taxes.
Hmm.
Oh shit. MM43, yeah, don't tell me about the bachelor tax because I get to write a check, not have to take it out. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's crooked, man.
Yeah. Well, okay, honestly, that is the case for a lot of our society at the moment. Where if it wasn't corrupt and crooked as all get out, it just wouldn't be allowed to happen.
They're going to come after your paycheck. They're going to come after your wages, your earnings, whether you're married or whether you're single. They've already made it perfectly clear they don't care, what
Yeah.
state of position you're in as a man in this culture. You're going to pay this system, in their opinion, one way or another.
Now, here's the question.
Mhm.
Here is the big question that I have on all of that.
Yeah.
Well, the system itself, we already know it's disintegrating. And you can see it just in the way that things are going, not just in Washington, but just in general across the westernized world. How
Mhm.
much longer is it going to take for people to wake up and start saying, you know what? I don't want to play the game no more.
In my opinion, it's going to happen when they start tampering with the food source, when food becomes more scarce than it is now.
They're already doing that, dude, but they're poisoning it, not tampering with it.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like when you don't have readily access to go get it like you do now, and it's not in large quantities like it is even right now.
Hmm.
When it costs you to have to go to probably another town or travel, very far to even get food, you know, that's when it's going to start hitting a lot of people. I mean, look at the country right now. A mass population of the Western world is overweight. Food is one of the biggest thing that sells right now in our country. What's going to happen when you have millions of people who are on diabetic medicine and used to eating what 10, 15,000 calories a week or day or whatever, suddenly can't get their Twinkies and ho-hos and alcohol and Dorito chips? When all this starts crashing, what do you think is going to happen?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
God forbid we get rid of those sunflower chips.
People
yep,
are going to become very violent.
Oh
Is what's
yeah,
yeah.
going
No,
to happen.
big
you're
time.
not wrong. You are not wrong in the least. I mean, shoot, you don't even have to look at the food supply for that to happen. I mean, the way our society is, where we've gotten so used to things working instantaneously when they
Mhm.
work at all, that when things don't work, people get irrationally violent.
And I'm just talking about the food that you can get on the shelf, like Doritos and Cheetos and Twinkies and Ding Dongs and that manufactured alcohol like Budweiser and shit like that. When that stops becoming readily available. I'm not even talking about, food like what farmers are growing, like, corn and hops and barley and cattle and all that. I'm talking about the
Okay,
store-bought shit.
Cliff, quick segue. Cliff, MM43, you both just got the first two starred comments of the evening, and it's not even on the primary topic. Monsanto has been tampering with seed supply for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and Monsanto is gone. It's bare now.
Well, it was bought out by Bayer, yeah, but they're still Monsanto, and they're still got the same people in control.
Yeah,
That's the scary fucking part.
Either way, those two comments win the first two stars of the night.
Mm-hmm. No. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yep.
And okay, I'm just gonna say this. Unlike Rhino, I don't care if we waffle a little bit, because a lot of times we waffle in a way that we are still on topic, even if it's not in the direction that the host necessarily wants to go with the topic. I'm never going to allow the show to go as off the rails as Jimmy likes to.
Well, or even mine does sometimes.
But no, this has been a really good conversation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And Crusader, you are absolutely correct. In fact, that is something I didn't really intend to touch on tonight, because I really was hoping we would be talking about how basically our society has effed itself in the fourth point of contact for decades when it comes to how we've screwed up how romantic entanglements are supposed to work. But you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, trading nickels, yeah. I mean, they're doing that now, even with Tyson Foods. I mean, there's a lot of that food that they're crushing up crickets and stuff into the chicken meal.
Okay, if you
Go
want to
ahead.
know something really scary, look up what percentage of your peanut butter can be
Mhm.
insect byproducts.
6%.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
standard across all processed foods.
But
Look it up.
MM43,
Look it up.
I know. MM43, if I refer to myself in the third person on one of these shows, it's because of the fact that I'm trying to prove a point.
And he's not Bob Dole, so don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but the point I was trying to get to, that's their way of conditioning people to readily accept the cricket and the bugs in our food. Already, like we've talked about on Rhino, and I think other people showed, Tommy, maybe yours too.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how much candy, look at how much products that you eat that's already got crushed up beetles and crushed up grasshoppers, and some of your food colorings comes from there, right?
Oh yeah.
It is the
Red
conditioning to
red
get
dye
people,
number 3 is all beetle.
it is the conditioning to get people to just readily accept it when the time comes where they decide to switch over everything, and they're almost there.
Oh, and hey, gentlemen, not
Yeah.
to dissuade too much from this, but actual buddy of mine in IRL is actually in the chat tonight.
Ah, well, welcome.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah, bro.
So I'm not going to say his name exactly, but he knows who it is.
Now, I did a video not long ago on the 3D printed meat. They're already doing printed meat right now. Was it stem
Yeah,
cell
using
lab meat?
essentially cancer cells. Essentially using cancer cells to grow meat on a template and then cook it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is only a matter of time before they switch our food over to what they're trying to do.
Okay, now this is a good point. Right up here that I don't know how many people actually know about it.
Mm.
And I'm going to go ahead and read this out to anyone who is on a phone and can't really see it on the screen.
Mm.
Crickets are dangerous to anyone with shellfish allergies. I wonder what other insects might mess with people's allergies.
Well, they use the
Yeah.
same chitinous shell, and that's what's
Mhm.
causing the issue with shellfish allergies. It's a chemical in the shell, and I can't remember the exact name of it.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's what causes the allergic reaction. Um,
So, St. Louis Arch, I get what you're saying there. I know what you're trying to say, but I have to be honest with you. That's an autocorrect fail that is actually kind of humorous.
St. Louis Arch
Especially
is
given,
dead on right there, though.
well, especially considering some of the subject matter that a lot of the hosts in this particular side of the internet like to talk about.
Mhm.
Well, MM43. I mean, look at how many of these farms are being bought up. All this farmland's being bought up. Look at what Bill Gates is doing right now, trying to buy up all this farmland. Now, look, about a year or so ago, around this time, mysteriously over 100 and something food factories around the world started burning up. That's not a coincidence now, is it?
Mhm.
Or it is a coincidence now, isn't it?
Nor is all of these chicken barns getting burnt
Okay,
up.
well, let's rotate this back to what the initial source of the video was supposed to be, because while this is interesting, this is going to be this is one of those things that will need a lot more research and a lot more data that I can actually use to tie everything back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, excuse me for 1 second.
Cancer meat. Oh God.
I'm
Yeah, they,
more or less over the crud from the beginning of this year, early last year, or late last year. I still have issues where if I'm talking for too long, I will start coughing uncontrollably. So if I mute all of a sudden,
mhm.
go ahead and keep on chatting while I'm coughing up a lung, gentlemen.
All good, man. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
go ahead, bro. Do what you got to do.
So, getting back to your subject for tonight's
Well, the subject for
episode.
tonight was history and current state of Valentines, and essentially Valentines and romance, which we already know modern Valentine's Day is a commercial holiday Hades hole.
Mm-hmm.
And romance, well, let's be face it, for most guys anymore, romance is essentially dead unless you have the triple sixes,
Mm-hmm.
are incredibly lucky, or are willing to settle for something that you are not interested in settling for.
Right.
So, while all of what we were talking about does fit in the overall narrative,
Mm-hmm.
the question that I'm going to ask, and this is one that I've brought up in various flavors over the last few months, how do we start turning this around at our local level and eventually at a cultural level? And is it even worth trying to turn around without getting the government on board with it?
Uh, just depends on what we're trying to fix. What are we trying to fix? Are we trying to fix the modern nuclear family?
Good luck.
Because
Yeah, that I'm going to say in the West, that's pretty much a dead option.
and I brought this up last night in my stream that I did. Uh, this current time period we live in, with all these people who have, body count one another and swapped all kinds of disease, it's no longer viable. Even as a single bachelor, even as a lot of people in the culture that are still virgins. I mean, it's not applicable to chase these women anymore as a man. Don't take the gamble. This current generation of people, they're gone, man. They're contaminated. They're corrupt. It would take starting a whole new generation of children and getting them away from the Western ideals of society to even have a fighting chance at keeping this civilization going.
Okay, I'm going to point out I don't disagree with any of what you're saying. On the
Right.
face,
Mhm.
on the face of it, I think you've got the mark pretty much hit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I'm going to put at the feet of all of us in the single guy red pill community.
Mm-hmm.
We like to say that it's not worth trying to fix,
Mm-hmm.
but here's the issue. Unless we find a way to move people who have a similar enough mindset to an area that's isolated from the rest of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
we won't be able to sustain the species beyond
Yeah.
another 2 generations here in the West. And that's metastasizing like a cancer around the world.
Mm-hmm.
There are population numbers showing that even in more traditional areas of the world, the population numbers are dropping.
Yep.
So I guess the question that I'm going to ask is kind of a twofold question.
Mm-hmm.
One, is it worth even attempting to fix? And two, and the other part to this question, if it's not worth attempting the fix, is it something that the human population will drop to a certain point and then kind of level itself out? Because there's a theory when it comes to biology of something called homeostasis,
Yeah.
where
Oh.
where essentially the body will attempt to maintain itself at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
E.g., your body's temperature will always try to balance itself out to a certain point. pH systems, all of that will always try to level out to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that that's kind of what what our civilization is doing, where it's gotten to a point where there's so darn many of us in such tiny confines that's like the mouse utopia, where the biological imperatives just break down for most people?
Hmm.
And Crusader, I know you've mentioned that. Right now, we're just spitballing ideas.
Why isn't Crusader in this chat? What the hell is wrong with that guy?
Honestly, the topic that we were starting with is something I honestly didn't think he would have that much interest in.
Well, get his ass in here.
Hey,
Hey, Crusader,
hey.
quit being a bitch.
well, no, I posted the invite earlier in there because honestly, I sent invites to yourself, Tommy, Outlaw,
I
Sean,
Mm-hmm.
and Jim.
and I couldn't find it. I got it off of the chat.
Honestly,
You're gonna find it in your DM.
No, I didn't. Oh, well, I did. I didn't check there again. God damn, I'm stupid. Sorry.
I think if you care enough about humanity to want to invest into this and try to at least make a scratch in what's going on, or at least a dent, I would say yes. Try to start with the next generation of young men coming up in this culture, and try to teach them better than feminism or BLM or LGBT. Try to get them away from all this indoctrination. I think it comes down to a matter of how much do you really care about other people to try to see a difference made.
Okay, but before you continue,
Mhm.
Cliff, thank you for joining the podcast.
Glad to be here.
Hey, Cliff.
I'm sure it's probably going to be a fornication show, but welcome anyway.
It's all good.
Outlaw, go ahead and continue your thought. I'm sorry about that. I like to try to greet people as soon as I can.
Oh yeah, no worries, brother. Yeah, I mean, I tell men all the time on my channel, this is an investment back into people in our culture, specifically men, since MGTOW deals with men and red pill in general. Um, you know, it comes down to a matter of how much do you care on an individualistic level? How much does this matter to you? Unfortunately, the red pill is realizing that the time period that we live in, the people who are here now in the stream and the people who we've taught, we're probably not going to see this change in our lifetimes. As sad as I hate to say that, we're probably not going to live long enough to see the change that we want to see. Which means if you want to see, now I hope I'm wrong. Let me preface by saying I hope that I'm wrong. And I do see a lot of promise in Gen Z, because there was an article that come out, and I did a video on it the other day, talking about that they're starting to see through feminism and they're rejecting it. A lot of the Gen Zs over in, I think it's the UK. So there is hope. There is a little bit of light coming through at the end of the tunnel. Who knows? Maybe we will see a change at the end of our lifetime. And I hope we do. But it comes down to how much do you care about other people? Do you want to see a change made? And that's
A very good question has just been brought up in the chat, and I've got this highlighted because I've heard it asked in various flavors a few times. I've heard a lot of people just straight up throw it out the window, essentially saying it's impossible. So I personally don't think anything is truly impossible when it comes to learning the truth. But at the same time, it's a battle. We've all seen on Pop's stream a few of the ladies he's had on who could be classified as, at the very least, adjacent to the red pill.
But how many of them are in the prime of their life?
That's just it. I don't know any of their ages.
That's the key thing, because a lot of the ones that I've seen that are the quote red pill are usually the women that are kind of telling the younger ones, get married, have kids, and they're women in their 40s. They've already gone past the wall. There are some that might already have kids, but they don't actually have the full dream. They might have been able to kind of skirt over the wall, get to that happy place, but most of them aren't.
I have heard a lot of people in this community say that they believe that women can be red pill aware, but they believe that women never really come to a place of awareness. I don't know. Personally, for me, like you said, I don't think anything's impossible. But given the examples like Cliff said that we've seen, that I've seen personally, I'm not seeing very many of them.
It's hard to buy real estate in that particular territory.
Right. Because a lot of the red pilling is because of what society has allowed women to get away with. So a woman turning back and going against all this privilege, maybe. I don't see it.
Tommy asked for this particular chat to be highlighted, so
yeah.
I don't speak Spanish, which is what that looks a lot like to me.
Tommy is my friend. I would say, I think that's fuck off. Thoughts? I don't remember. I haven't used Spanish in like 20 years. So
that's still 10 years sooner than I have.
MM43 says he disagrees. He thinks that some of it is already changing in the culture as a Zoomer, but it is turning like an 18-wheeler on night. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not a hopeless situation. Yeah, there is a lot of change that is happening on a small microscopic level. I mean, it's just, is it enough? At the number of men that we've already woken up to this, is it enough? I don't know that answer. Yeah, I would tend to agree. Yeah, there is some change happening on a smaller level. Yeah, sure. Will we see it happen in our lifetime, though, is what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
And the answer to that is I don't know, because that's a what if.
So I think for Valentine's Day, you also got to remember, when did it become a Hallmark holiday? Wasn't it around like the 1920s or something like that?
I
Try
think it was around the
1890,
1960s.
Something like that.
1890s.
1890s.
Uh-huh.
All right.
That's when they started really getting into the greeting card thing, and then it bled over from Christmas into Valentine's Day.
And to every other major holiday.
And of course, then you were seeing the major chocolate manufacturers starting to really come online and being able to mass produce.
Yeah,
Well,
Hershey and
what I-
Nestle.
Yeah.
From what I remember, chocolate's always been seen as a quote unquote romantic gift, whether
Mhm.
that was for Valentine's Day or for any other reason.
It didn't matter. Well, it's always been a shit since the Aztec times. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
seen. It was a very powerful thing. Very
Isn't
healthy.
that because of the fact that one, it was super hard to make, and two, it lasted a long time and maintained its sweetness up until either
Well,
went bad all the way or had just been used?
well, it kept very well, but the big thing with the Aztecs is it wasn't sweetened at all. And if
No.
you've never had that type of coffee drink that the Aztecs made, it's completely different than you would realize. It's kind of like black coffee. It's an acquired flavor,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, I think it's really good. I
Well,
would like it better without the milk or the sugar.
Okay, well, that actually brings up an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Or ancestrally, I'm German Irish,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
which means that which I know some people would argue that what I'm about to say is pseudoscience and bullshit, but to a certain extent, that's going to impact the kinds of foods and drinks that I'm really predisposed to enjoy. Whether it's a cultural thing or a genetic thing, that's a fair debate. We're not going to go into it tonight. But
Mm-hmm.
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 there are certain kinds of chocolate and beer that when I do indulge in both of them, that I go for primarily rather than any other sweet or libation if I choose to indulge in a alcoholic libation. And for me, the type of chocolate I prefer is the semi-sweet German chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's much higher cocoa content than it is the cocoa oils.
That would
Yeah.
be actually a pretty good thing to look into, see where the origins of chocolate for Valentine's Day came from.
You know what?
It was Hershey's, I believe.
Let's actually take a look at that. Well, I'm sure there was an idea for it before that ever came up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I
where
know
did the heart
Hershey's
shape,
capitalized on it.
like where did the heart shaped candies and the heart and all
Oh,
that come from?
The heart shape is a
Is
romantic
the ass actually?
symbol. I was going to get there.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
Crusader is
I know.
absolutely right.
Food.
It makes you horny and want to fuck.
Interesting.
Okay. Let's
So there's actually some psychological research involved in chocolate. And
Oh yeah.
yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
Well, chocolate does a lot of
let's
good
see.
things for anyone that imbibes in it. And if you're not eating too much of it with the cocoa butter
Mhm.
and the sugar, it's really good for you.
That's one of the things I want to learn how to make. Ferment cocoa beans and learn how to make it.
Well, the first problem you're going to have there, mister, is getting them, the
Mhm.
cocoa pods. They are exceedingly hard to get. without them already being processed.
Okay. I just did a quick search and this is the exact terminology I used. When did chocolate become associated with romance? The very first thing that comes up is from the Daily Mail.
Mhm.
And let's see if
The daily fail.
all right, the tradition of Valentine's chocolates is older than you think. Although heavily commercialized today, the connection between chocolate and romance has ancient origins, yada yada yada. Fueled by legends of Coco's powers to inspire desire, chocolate in its various forms was the love potion for many of history's most infamous lovers. And we've already talked about Valentine's Day origins, so we're not going to beat that horse anymore. Though the exact date of how the celebration's namesake remain a mystery, February 14th has been known as St. Valentine's Day since the 5th century. This date did not become associated with love until the Middle Ages, when a new era of poetry created a culture of romance. Although love letters and poems have been exchanged between lovers since then, it was the Victorian era when chocolate became a widespread means of sharing sweet sentiments too. Son of a Gundark, I cannot talk tonight.
It's all good, man.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
originally started with the Renaissance, but
More
became
than
popularized by the.
And Crusader Nate nailed this twice in 2 different comments.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, interesting.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, okay.
Other than the Hog Slayer comment.
MM43, I'm not going to comment on that one. Okay. Most of my ancestry was clear of that region by that point in history.
Interesting.
No, there's nothing wrong with 1939 German chocolate, as long as it doesn't have a tank behind it.
Hey, Crusader, you have a good night. Thank you for joining in the chat for as long as you did. I'm sorry that we weren't quite up to the snuff of what I figured would be a topic that you would want to join in on tonight.
So if chocolate is
hang on one quick second. I just want to say this. I just want to say this real quick for everyone to know. When I put out the invites to join one of my streams, it's because the individuals that I send the invites to are ones whom I think will have a major value added to the topic or will be very interested in the topic. If I don't send an invite, it's not because I have a personal bias against you. It's because I don't necessarily believe that it's something that you will be all that interested in. I'm Tommy. I'm not going to invite you onto a stream talking about video games when I know you're not really super big on video games.
Used to be, but they were all
But I think you see where I'm trying to go.
I do. And the big thing is I have nothing to do with or understand for your miniature game 40K. I've never gotten into that. I'm more than willing to listen to it and interact, but holy shit, I got nothing, man. What can I add?
The thing is, when it comes to a topic like that, sometimes even questions about why people are doing what they're doing lead to really good reasons for actually having the conversation. I'm going to 40K for half a second, then we're going to redirect back because I do not want to turn this into a 40K stream tonight. That was actually a parody of 1980s culture. And the earliest lore for 40K was very heavily parodying stuff that was happening in the 1980s in the United States, Great Britain, and Europe at large. That's why so many of the models from up until about 5 years ago
Mhm.
have very strong acid rock vibes to them, or very strong World War II
Right.
similar
Yeah.
type vibes to them. So, but all that being said, when talking about lore for that, it's good to have people who don't know jack about it on a stream, because you guys are going to ask a question about it that I may not have thought to even consider addressing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the discussions bring up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But let's redirect this back to where it's actually supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting back to the chocolate. Oh, go ahead, Tommy.
I was going to say, actually, Trading Nicholas had made a good point. He's not that big a gamer anymore either,
Mhm.
but he still games, and that's kind of
Oh.
where I'm at. You know.
Oh, and the thing is with him,
Mm-hmm.
I very much understand where he's coming from on that,
Mm-hmm.
because even as a war gamer, I oscillate regularly between active participant and okay, I'll buy a book here and there, or I'll buy a model here and there.
Mm-hmm. But getting back to the chocolate thing, and I seen where Trading Nichols asked the question a while ago about why are we not supposed to eat it if it lowers blood pressure. If I read that right, when chocolate was first invented, it had natural health benefits without all this preservatives and additives.
Yeah,
Yep.
if you can get a hold
All
of
the extra
natural,
fats.
if you can get a hold of natural chocolate, it is
Mhm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is an absolutely well. Okay, let me rephrase that statement. Natural chocolate comes from, if I remember correctly, cocoa beans, which
Mhm.
I think is relatively related to coffee, but I could be in error there.
No, they're not.
Okay,
Let me
I-
let me grab you. I've got some of the raw material. I'll bring it over.
Well, I did say I could be wrong.
Right, and that's why I'm helping you out here.
But if you grow cocoa beans naturally and you ferment them and then do the process naturally, you don't add any of the GMOs or the preservatives and sugars and all that. It's actually very health beneficial.
Oh yeah,
contrary to what people believe. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's also a naturally bitter taste.
It is.
Which is not as appealing to the masses. So that's why it was reprocessed to be able to be sold as more sweeter, which also required more additives. So the chocolate making companies could actually make more money. Of course, that's more of a 20th century thing.
See, here's the thing. That's why I like the traditionally made German chocolate, because it's as close to natural as you can get, while still being sweet enough to be tolerable for most people.
All right, here you go,
So,
guys.
Okay, so Tommy, show and tell. Let me bring you full screen.
Stuff. This is what chocolate is made of. This is the fermented and dried beans. Okay. So what you get are these little nubs, as they call them. I mean, literally, so I don't spill them everywhere. It's really bright. There you go. Now you can see them a little bit. So what you do to get the darker chocolate flavor is you throw them in a skillet and you roast them slowly until they get a little bit darker, or you throw them in an oven for a certain amount of time until they get as dark as you like. Then you have to turn them into a powder. Then you can mix them with your cocoa butter, or you can make them into a drink as is and add sugar to taste.
I was just going to say, if you do it the natural way, but if you add like cane sugar, does it change the health benefits of that?
No. In fact, it's probably healthier because of the cane sugar.
Okay.
I was going to point out, you're not changing the underlying chemistry behind it.
No.
Okay.
It's sugar. Sugar is sugar. Cane sugar is just not as purified as white granulated sugar.
Well, the thing I was going to actually point out, and it doesn't matter if you're cooking something like chicken or cooking up a pie or something along that line.
Mhm.
As long as you don't add certain preservatives or artificial substances to it, you can basically make a very natural, healthy version of pretty much every recipe that's out there.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of finding the right materials to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, as much as I rag on beer in general, do you know what the ancient Egyptians used beer for originally?
It was just it was
Wasn't that to preserve papyrus for writing on?
no, it was
It was a
preserve.
preservative, but wasn't
It
for
was to preserve
papyrus.
their
Okay.
grains.
Not quite.
Oh.
It was used to preserve the material that would be made into their bread.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. Because it wouldn't rot if you made it into a what they call a small beer, which is very
Mhm.
low in alcohol,
Mhm.
but it wouldn't rot.
And then they eventually learned, oh, we can also drink this stuff. And if you look at the ancient origins behind a lot of these things,
Mhm.
you would be very much surprised where certain things came out that are very poorly regarded nowadays, that people who originated them would be like, dude, you are way off the mark.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of people don't understand where beer came from anyway. They figured out that the rotting grain actually was pretty good when you cooked it into bread, and then they started doing it that way. And the beer was, don't forget the rotten fucking wells during the Middle Ages. Everything was contaminated with feces or plague or some other shit. And if you had a little bit of alcohol in that water, it killed all those bad germs and you could drink it and it kept you alive.
Okay, Tommy, when you were active in the Navy, did you ever get stationed over in Europe?
No. Well, no, I didn't get stationed in Europe in the military. I've been in Europe, though.
Okay. Cliff, did you get stationed in Europe?
No, I never did.
All right. I was stationed there for a couple of years, and other people who have been stationed there will probably also be able to confirm what I'm about to say. Soldiers are actually told not to drink the tap water
Mm-hmm.
in the barracks.
Yep.
Because
Mhm.
in Europe, they essentially are not able to treat the water. They don't have the space for the type of water treatment plants they would need. And the water has been contaminated for so many generations that it's honestly shocking that fish are actually able to be eaten out of those waters.
Well, fish at least can get rid of it.
In theory.
Well, they can change it, is what I should say. God damn it. Sorry.
All right. Well, we've been going for about an hour.
Mhm.
We've waffled back and forth between food items and the intended topic items. I think we've pretty much beat the intended topic item death and back.
Well, Slick South comes up with a pretty good topic.
Which one's that?
What are your thoughts on cooking with tallow or lard? I find it's better, and I agree.
I don't have enough experience with working with either of those to really be able to give an intelligible answer there.
Well, of course, tallow and lard are natural fat.
Yeah. I'll be honest, most of the cooking I do, when I need some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-sticking agent. I use either olive oil or canola oil.
Here's your kicker, man. Get away from the canola. Olive is
You know,
good.
I don't use canola unless I can't get the olive oil, which is my preferred.
Right.
And I prefer the olive oil mainly because, one, I like the taste,
Mm-hmm.
and two, you can use a lot less of it.
Yep.
And the other thing, and again, I'm going to blame this on my heritage, I prefer using butter when I'm frying something.
Yep, that's another excellent oil.
I will drop about an eighth of a stick of butter into a frying pan, and I will use that to fry up when I make chicken schnitzel or chicken cordon bleu, for that matter.
I have used. Go ahead.
Well, and to me, that just makes it a very light taste that doesn't overpower the rest of the food. See, my sense of smell is shot to Hades. I cannot smell things that other people normally can. But then again, I can also smell things that other people don't realize what the heck it is that they're smelling. So
yeah, you'll catch on those things that, oh God, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
I have used avocado oil. Go ahead.
Tommy, remind me of that when we kill the stream altogether. I will tell you what some of the oddball smells I can pick up are. It will get me zapped on YouTube if I mention it.
Oh yeah, I can tell you some too. Let's save that for the after show.
Well, I have used avocado oil myself. I'm trying to find some coconut oil.
Just order it on Amazon, dude.
Honestly, grapeseed oil is bad.
And there's a company that I've had really good luck with on their oils called Lord La Terre. Fuck, I can't. I just show you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What grocery store chains are in your area?
So we have, for the smaller chains, we've got Piggly Wiggly. We've got, I know the name's weird.
No, Piggly Wiggly is not weird. That's a Southern thing.
Oh, the name.
Come on.
The name.
I just brought you full screen. Tell me you want them.
Rapeseed oil.
This is the grapeseed oil, but this company does all kinds of. I've got their avocado. I've got a bunch of other shit. Is it?
I've used that brand a couple of times. They're really good.
Yeah, there we go. They're focused.
We've got Piggly Wiggly. We've got the name's weird. What I was saying. There's a food giant in my area. There's oh yeah. Then we've got the occasional Walmart, Target. Pretty much no different than anywhere else.
Okay, I can tell you from at least where I live, the Walmart neighborhood markets, you will not find a lot of the good oils and greases that we're talking about. Piggly Wiggly, I've never been in, so I can't speak to what they have.
They're decent markets. They really are.
It's a southern chain of, okay, when you tally up all the grocery bill, they add a 10% sales tax onto it at cost. It's
okay,
only...
let me ask you this. Yeah. Where do you go to get meats that you wouldn't find at a Walmart, or I don't know if you have this where you're at, a Food for Less type place?
I go to a local butcher shop.
I was just fixing to say, so sometimes when we've got a little bit of money, we'll go to the local butcher in town, or we'll find like a meat, like a grocery store that sells mainly meats. They specialize like in meats and frozen foods and stuff.
The reason I bring that up specifically,
here
in the area where I live, we have a local chain called Hy-Vee. It's a mid to high-end grocery store. It is also a place where you can go and get a lot of different meats, a lot of different cheeses that you won't find in a Walmart neighborhood market or our local discount grocery chain called Food for Less. But what you can do is you can find almost any kind of ingredient that you might need for, aside from just really super esoteric oddball stuff.
Now, we do have a Whole Foods but that's more of like the
That's-
higher end.
That's
Fresh.
probably gonna
Whole
be-
Foods is Amazon, dude.
Yeah,
Oh, what I was going to say is that'd probably be the nearest equivalent from what you're mentioning.
it's like a very upper echelon. Like you find them in like the upper middle class neighborhoods where the
Yeah.
$multi-million
They're the snooty fucks.
homes are, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been in one before. They're pretty nice,
Mhm.
but their
Okay,
prices are like
we've got a Brian coming into the chat.
oh, nice.
Welcome to the
Hi.
party, sir.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
What's up, brother?
So I assume you and Cliff are co-hosts.
Yes.
Alrighty.
But
Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
the problem, Mando, is that place is it's ridiculously high. Like it's
Believe me, I know.
Shit.
a loaf of
prices
bread
are
in that place is probably like $15-20 easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MM43 actually has experience with the Hy-Vee chain as well.
Oh,
Do
are
I
we talking about
find-
good old Hy-Vee, huh?
Hy-Vee.
I
Aldi's,
like their
Foods.
I like their meat bundles.
We've got Aldi's. I'm not.
Aldi's is a good one. And
Not
Well,
a
you guys
Outlaw
realize that Aldi is Great Britain. That's a UK
I thought it was
market
German.
originally.
I thought it was
That's
German.
UK.
It's okay if you like certain like cheeses and stuff like that, but there's not really a whole lot in there. I do like them though.
Aldi's is the perfect place to purchase and make your own pizza stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I
got
could see that.
everything there. It has
Hey, Outlaw,
Yeah.
Trading Nichols has a question up on the screen that he's calling you out specifically on. Would you like to address this?
Yeah. Do you find that meat from your local butcher more satisfying? Almost like you don't need as much. Yeah. The butcher that I use, he buys from like local farmers directly. So they've got their own on-site butcher place on site in the back of the butcher shop. So they deliver the dead cows to him, and he butchers and chops them up, and then once you get them take them home, they tend to go a lot longer. You don't, when you eat them, he doesn't put all the preservatives and all that shit into them like the grocery stores does. So, you don't feel like you have to have another one right then.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't put all them salts and preservatives and GMOs and stuff in them, obviously. So he just cuts them, puts his spices in them, and then sells them to us. But yeah, that meat goes pretty far. You feel a lot more like you've ate something real and not, like quite crack cocaine. You got to have another one. You got to have another one. And
Me
plus it's really
personally, I
tasty.
feel like that meat from a butcher, you get a better fat content because they
Yes.
Yeah.
pick out farms that raise beef the way they want it raised for their customers versus a big
Yep.
box grocery store that's just about pushing volume.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Well,
I will
big
say.
box,
Go ahead.
I'm just going to point out big box stores. They actually have kind of a contract thing with various farming conglomerates all throughout the country and possibly all throughout the world, depending on where they're at. Because
Now,
a really weird thing that I found is that for some things they can get them pretty much anywhere in the country. Others they kind of need to have a local supplier for.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're talking about lamb
Yep.
or mutton, even. Well, mutton, you can't hardly find it.
Well, here
Nobody-
stateside you can't find it hardly anywhere.
No, nobody eats mutton unless you know somebody with a sheep farm and they're killing off the old stock. Because mutton is just something that's older than 18 months with sheep.
Yeah.
Everything younger than that is called a lamb.
now it does cost a lot more to buy from the butcher shop, but
Mm-hmm.
to me it's worth it because he lets you know. My butcher does. He lets you know what he puts in it. He'll show you.
Mhm.
You can see the meat hanging up in there when they get it cut and all that. So it's very much worth it, and they have to kind of move it along. You know, if you're slaughtering a whole cow or a pig or something, you kind of have to buy in bulk to a degree to get rid of the product. But yeah, it's worth it. What did I pay last time when I went in there?
Well, here's one of the things, dude. When you go to buy a
Hang on,
partial
Tommy.
beef,
Interrupt for half a second.
Mm.
Trading Nickels. Turn off the camera, or turn off camera on your StreamYards, and I'll be able to let you on because right now it's showing that your devices are not connected. Go on, Tommy. Sorry
I
about
was
that.
going to say, the thing with a butcher too is they're going to charge you more of a per pound instead of per cut pound fee.
Yeah.
And usually they don't add anything to your meat unless you ask for a pre-prepared. They're going to give you the cut. That's it. And when you order like a quarter of a beef or a quarter of a half of a beef, you're getting all the cuts from a half a beef, just a quarter of the amount. And it's going to cost you probably about $200.
Yeah.
But you're going to get everything. You're going to get everything.
It's going to be pricey, but you can put it in a deep freeze and keep that stuff for months.
Yep. And usually they'll vacuum pack it. So when you deep freeze it, that shit will never go bad.
Absolutely.
Ever.
You can get pork. You can get chicken from this place I go to. They sell their own homemade cheeses.
Yep.
Salami, you know, all that good stuff, man.
Okay,
Pepperoni.
Guys, get ready for some weirdness with the system. I'm about to go ahead and bring Trading Nickels on. He's showing device not connected for his audio avatar.
Yeah.
Hopefully his audio actually works. Okay, no, I can't add him on because he needs to have either a mic or camera added before he can come onto the stream. So Trading Nickels, I know your real name because you're one of the very few people who watches this stuff that I actually know in person. You need to get a camera and
he's working on it, dude.
He's working on it.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, you guys will probably like this guy. He is an absolute hoot when he gets going.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Just in the chat on the YouTube, I can already tell he's a firecracker.
Tommy, let me put it this way. He and I used to work together in the OR.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So Outlaw, tell your paralysis demon to get ready.
Oh man. All right, Jeffrey.
Yep. MM43, you're absolutely correct, dude.
Listen up, Jeffrey.
Steaks and all. Chuck roast, rump roast, round. Oh yeah, everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But to me, a good butcher is always going to be better than any of the chain stores that are out there, or any of the other types of places. Okay.
Oh, to me, it's worth it. It's worth it for peace of mind.
It is, and it's just the flavor is so much better.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, say hello to Trading Nickels. Nickels,
howdy.
Please remember to use my screen name, not my real name.
Oh, there he is.
What's up, brother?
Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Bueno.
Welcome to the madhouse. This isn't as bad as some, though.
It's funny. I went really deep into settings to try to fix stuff, and all I had to do on the tab you sent me was hit unmute. It was right in front of my face, so that's why I missed it.
I'm going to try to make a quick adjustment because you're coming in super soft on my end. Say something again, Nickels.
Is that any better?
That's better.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a truncated history. Me and Nickels met in Germany in 2004 on Launch Duel. Well, actually, correction, 2005 on Launch Duel. We went to probably, about half a dozen different sites over there before I ended up getting shipped back. And then we ended up reconnecting when I was stationed on Fort Irwin and
Boo.
we've managed to maintain connection ever since.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm
we had
sorry
some
for both
email
of you.
issues in around 07 that made us lose track of each other. It's hard to keep track of each other when you're in different countries and your phone number has to change and stuff. But to re-find him in California, I was walking, but when I spotted him, it was a walk run. I was like, "Whoa, no way!"
Yeah. We didn't necessarily do anything really wild and crazy together, but I want to say that we kind of messed with the NCOIC at the launch duel OR a few times.
You think so?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we did.
Do you guys miss your turtles?
We missed our turtles. I don't
He's
understand.
talking
The
about the
desert
painted
tours.
tortoises on Irwin.
Oh, those. Yeah, I never really had much dealings with them.
No,
I
fuck those
motorcycled a lot out
Tauruses.
there. Sometimes you would see like a coyote chasing a rabbit, but I never saw the coyote and the rabbit at the same time. But you could almost track the footprints and see what happened.
See, Nichols here, he has a habit that's a little bit more on the crazy side than mine is. He used to go dirt biking out in the desert.
Oh yeah,
Okay. Heck yeah. Heck
That's
yeah.
what you
What's
do
wrong with
out in
that?
SoCal.
it made that ugly place beautiful. It changed my mind about it a lot.
2-stroke, 4-stroke.
4-stroke,
Yeah.
street legal.
Oh, heck yeah. I always rode 2-stroke, man. I'm old school.
Yeah,
Well,
those were. I got into it too late. The only 2-stroke options I saw, I wasn't sure if they would keep running because they were so old.
Well, the other thing is, if you're in any state like California, the 2-strokes, they are like evil
Oh yeah,
demons.
California
You
hates
have
them.
to
Oh,
destroy
yeah.
them. You
I-
have
I
to
just-
get rid of them.
They sound good though. Just like they're just
Oh,
badass.
the power curve on those things is incredible. I mean, it's
Oh,
just wide open now. Blam.
You hit that power band, son. You better
Mhm.
hang on.
My
Nickel?
Yamaha had a smaller gas tank than everyone else because it had to have an evap system on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It didn't even
Okay.
have. Sorry, I don't mean to derail on this one, but just
No,
California.
it's okay. I'm just going to give you a quick intro to some of the guys here. Tommy D, former Navy Aviation. Cliff, former Army. I want to say Brian's also former Army.
Mm-hmm.
The only one of us on the panel tonight that hasn't been military previously is Outlaw.
Yeah. I
And
never saw any.
He's been around us enough. He might as well be
Well,
honorary.
given the
Yeah.
number of nightmares me and Crusader have given him, we may as well classify him as a low-level vet.
Yeah, I mean, I never did, but my grandfather did. He served in World War II, driving trucks. He was a Tech 5. So I still don't know what that means as far as an Army.
He was either an
People-
Air Force or Air Corps or an Army
Yeah, Air Corps was
technical
the tech.
specialist level 5.
Yeah, well, they use that term in the Army too, depending on where you were, and if he was a truck driver,
Mm-hmm.
that mean he Tech 5, he made sergeant.
Yeah,
Well,
because
on
at
the
that
may
time
have
they
been.
still
He
had
never
bad
talked about
spec
it. I
as
don't know.
well.
Huh?
On the modern scale, he would have been listed as sergeant because the
Well,
the
no,
Army
that's
used- well,
that was World War II. I do remember.
well the Army used to have 4 different promotion scales.
Yes.
There was the officer scale, there was the enlisted scale that we more or less know today, and then there was the warrant scale, and then there were 2 semi-specialized scale,
Yeah,
Which
spec
was-
skill.
Yeah, the spec
which
wars.
was technician and specialist, and they had like 5 different ratings there. Once as
He
it
drove
was
trucks.
weird.
He drove trucks in Japan, from what I remember him saying, and he was dumping things in the ocean all night.
Yeah. Well, that was typical.
And then somehow he got hit by a low-hanging power line that nearly killed him.
Oof.
I think he was standing up in the back of the truck helping do something, and they were moving and he hit a power line. But
So-
he
So, Nichols, would you like to give the guys a little bit of your history? So that way, one, I know what areas are safe to touch, and two, what areas you're willing to actually have discuss.
We don't have all night.
No,
We have a
no,
lot
we
of
don't.
history.
I don't need. Okay, remember, I know you, so I know the Romeo and Juliet version. Give us the cliff notes.
All right. So I guess a cliff note, at least as far as I know, the community is, I definitely be red pilled, and you're right. My I do have a significant other, so that might be a little bit different. She's fairly red pilled considering, but you're right. She's over 40. Army Reserve. But I think that this is the only place on the internet I would talk about that. And I did catch a previous stream of Mando's where Tommy shared about the rifles, quote, accidentally going off. Excuse me, not rifle, missile launchers going off. I believe that was you, Tommy.
No, that wasn't me.
That was
wasn't-
probably Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably Sean because I didn't deal with any missile launchers.
Well, maybe you didn't, but just knowing the way people can make mistakes in the military, it was news that Mando brought up that you were. I was reacting to without being on the stream, but you were like my voice because I was like, "Whoa!" I can so totally see bad training going badly this way.
Yeah,
we accidentally set off an RPG that only has like 9 safeties on it, right, Mando?
I think that was
Something
Sean.
like-
I'm pretty sure that was Sean. I think I remember him talking about that.
yeah, because I think he was talking about the AT4 incident.
Yeah. That was a hell of a story.
Right.
But Nichols here, I know he's got a couple of kids, and if I remember right, didn't you just welcome a new one to your family?
Yeah. He's 2 years old now. I had to resist using his name. It's easier for me to say Mando than not to say his name. But he's 2, and my wife, just before she went to sleep, was losing it because he actually came up and said mom and dad. All the kids have tortured her when we're saying dad first because it's easier than the mom.
Yep.
For a young mouth to say. So it's pretty rare, and that was a special moment earlier.
Good.
heck yeah, man.
He's getting there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes to some of the stuff that we talk about, Nichols here, he's been on the outside looking in for a while. He's undergone some of the stuff that most of us in our little community have gone through. He's also dealt with some stuff that we're not going to talk about live on stream out of respect for him, but that I can guarantee pretty much none of us have dealt with. So
We all have our own path, and we all have our own trials.
And
yeah, we do.
I apologize, Nichols, if I'm stepping on your toes here, but if you guys have any crypto questions, he might be a guy to talk to offline.
Will you quit outing him?
I say crypto enthused on here. This name has a bunch of. I put a few videos up about crypto about it, so he really can't out me. I've already publicly talked about it. I've live streamed a lot more with others than with myself. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything that I know he doesn't have a problem with, because
I'm just giving you shit
he and
anyway.
I speak. Nichols, we speak about once or twice a month at least.
At the minimum, sometimes once or twice a week. We have a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid the crypto. I'm not into it.
I don't know nothing about it.
Well, to me, I think it's part of my red pill awakening because it makes me aware of governments and their continual destruction of their currencies to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Understanding that the dollar or any other country's currency isn't really money kind of makes you awake in another way, because it's when they inflate the dollar, they are reducing the money that we make's value, and it always enslaves us more. So to me, crypto led into finding a bunch of people that cared about food and learned about crickets long before it was introduced into our food. I mean, it's just all those different things. Like gold bugs have a lot in common with people that care about crypto. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put that one up there, Mando.
Okay.
Do them in order though.
Let me take a look.
What's going on?
Which one are you referring to?
The two last comments, the one from MM43 and then mine after that.
No, we're not gonna do. We're not gonna do that. I'll let that one be for Ryan and Jimmy. Okay?
Well, that's, we've had this discussion with, we've discussed this with Father Saunders and them too about this.
Well, Father
me-
Sanders is a boob though.
Well, to me, investing in food, medicine, water, and that sort of thing, to me, has always been top number one priority, no matter what we're talking about. I mean, those guys over there were talking about trying to invest in like alcohol and tobacco and stuff like that if it ever went south. I'm like, yeah, sure, if you like luxury items, but
Well, no,
you will always.
those would actually be barter items.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll always need water.
Come on.
You'll always need food.
As you learn in the military, you always barter with tobacco.
Yeah.
Nichols. Nichols. The
Yeah.
lead that he's referencing isn't the lead you're thinking it is.
yeah, in the chat I realized I still get big tricked by that one.
Oh man.
I was like, man, I
Alcohol
didn't
is
know
a-
about people getting ingots of that and not using it. What?
But I've been trying to find a good investment in some food that I can stock up and keep in case of an emergency. And I know that you guys in the military have them MREs, which I've been trying to find somebody to buy them off of.
Those aren't a great
Well-
investment.
Yeah, Tommy's right.
Yeah.
They back you up like none other.
Well,
Wow.
you know,
That's
if
what
you're
I've
wanting to
heard.
go hiking for a few weeks, they're great.
Yeah.
They're
Be
also okay.
expecting- Yeah.
They're also okay for a major emergency event,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not something you want long term.
Yeah, because
No.
one MRE is like over 6,000 calories?
No,
They're
I've-
engineered.
that's a myth. It just
Holy
isn't.
shit.
They're engineered to be something. Actually, you know what? Rather than me just saying that, I'm gonna go mute for a second. I've got a few MREs up in one of my cupboards. Give me a
Well,
second.
that works.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So-
it depends on its purpose, what the MRE is for. If it's your daily, then you're looking at 2,500
Yeah.
to 3,000, depending on the use. I mean, they're all tailored. And the other
Yeah.
thing is, guys, those things don't last forever.
They
They
got
last
Well-
a long time, but they don't last forever.
Well,
And
I'm
when
trying to
they-
find.
technically,
Go
I think, what, a 10-year shelf life?
And most of them, they rotate them after 3
Yeah.
because they lose their freshness. They're not as tasty. Yeah, the nutrients are still there, but they don't taste as good. And,
Well, I found a place called My Patriot Supply.
Mhm.
High Impact Flicks used to advertise them all the time. I've been thinking about looking into that, but I don't know what the shelf life on that food is or what kind of food that they offer.
Well, what you're looking for, if you're looking for something to put away, is the shelf stable stuff. Usually, that's your dehydrated, vacuum sealed, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Your MREs are not that.
Mm.
They're completely different.
They're more
And-
like a midterm versus a long
Yeah.
term.
They're
Well,
more
there's
like your
something
3-day
you can
bag.
eat on the fly. You don't have to fuck with it. You can heat it and eat, and you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
want.
you don't have to eat it either. You can just eat it.
They're very expensive too. When you want your money to go
Mhm.
farther, MREs aren't the way to go. An
Uh-uh.
MRE might be all right to like throw it in your go bag, but not your
Yeah.
stay and hunker down and still have something to eat. Supply.
Right.
That's
The
where your
big things are a
freeze-dried-
water supply and freeze dried goods. In all honesty,
Freeze
Yeah.
dried
or
yeah.
canned goods.
So like if you
yes.
take chili and you freeze dry it and then vacuum seal it, you can do it in portion sizes, and then boom, you've got X amount of days worth of food just vacuum sealed.
Yep. And you add some water to it, heat it up, and let it rehydrate. And it's. I will tell you, it will give you gas like a motherfucker, but even worse.
Okay,
than the real
ladies and
stuff.
maniacs.
Well, hold on now, Tommy. Did you tell him the secret? You're supposed to eat the gum because it's a mild laxative.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not
You don't-
talking about those though. I'm talking about the dehydrated foods.
Oh,
Okay.
I've
All
heard
right,
you
ladies.
call it laxative. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay, ladies and maniacs. I am cracking open a MRE menu item 13 cheese tortellini and tomato sauce.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now this
I've heard that's a good one.
Now I'm not putting this on camera, but you heard me crack open the package.
Well,
Yeah.
you're not going to eat it either. You're just going to tell
Nope.
us what's in it.
Okay, now here's what is in it right out of the package. You have a packet of cheese tortellini and tomato sauce. Obviously, that's the name of the product. This one has, and can someone get a pen, paper, notepad, something? Because when I have calorie information, I'm going to give you the numbers.
I got you. I got you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. It has snack crackers,
Yeah.
which are 170 calories per serving, with a serving size being 1 pouch. These are, I'm going to say, 4-inch by 4-inch crackers, 2 of them per pouch.
Yeah.
Brian, you've got that fecal matter eating grin on your face. You know what I'm going.
I know what he's
What I'm
talking
doing there.
about.
All right, I've got the
I make
condiment.
those.
I've got the condiment packet, which I'm going to go ahead and kick on my camera for a second and show you what is in here, because I'm not
Yeah.
going to crack this thing open. So give me just a second to make sure the camera is correct, because otherwise it'll get a picture of my ugly face, and we don't want that.
What did I eat? The last MRE. What was that I ate? I don't remember.
Okay, bringing this
It
up to
wasn't a
full screen
walnut,
for a
was it?
second.
You can definitely tell he's
Hey,
a
the
trainer.
little Tabasco sauce TP, and let me guess, there's waterproof matches in there.
Oh, probably. Actually,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
I think they actually got rid of the waterproof matches.
What?
Oh,
they
they
did?
Tabasco.
Yeah, but it's
knew
got-
what you guys like.
But we've got some freeze-dried coffee in here, some creamer, the laxative gum, and some other assorted odds and ends. You know, I'm just going to do the rest of this on screen. We have dry roasted peanuts,
Oh, those are
not to be
good.
mistaken with Jeff Dunham's most obnoxious puppet. And these are 160 calories per serving for 1
And they
pound.
are salted.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Saltines. Them are
And
actually
I've
pretty
never
good.
heard a
Oh.
bad thing about those out of those MREs either.
Outlaw,
Yeah, those are good.
this will probably
Yeah.
make your stomach churn a little bit. Chocolate peanut spread.
Oh, it's Nutella. That's all it is.
Chocolate
Yeah.
peanut spread.
But it's not hazelnut based, so
Chocolate.
Right, so it's
peanut
not
spread.
Nutella, it's peanut butter.
Yeah.
And this is 150 calories.
Mm-hmm.
I've never
Got it.
heard of that. Chocolate peanut spread.
We have a container here for lemon lime beverage powder, which
Ooh.
Lemon
case you
lime
guys-
Gatorade.
for those of you who have never used one of these things, the engineering on it is wonky as all get out.
Yeah.
This is one of the actually no, it's not one of the older ones. It's one of the newer ones.
Yeah,
You're
'cause it
supposed
doesn't have the
pour the
matches.
contents. Well, you're supposed to pour the contents of that bag into this bag,
Yep.
I'll
and
be
then
damned.
guesstimate.
It's
What
got
you
the
need.
measurements on that bag of how much water you're supposed to add.
Well,
Yeah.
you also need some of them. You have to guesstimate what you're putting in.
Yeah.
There.
and they
Those are
also
the older
recommend
ones.
it that pouch, even if you don't use it to make your drink, still use it because it'll hold up decent to keep your cell phone out of the water and such.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
it'll take a turd too pretty well from what I understand.
Most of you guys who have used an MRE know what this is.
That's the thing that you can make
That-
it go boom.
That's the
Yeah.
heater.
Now, if you're dumb enough to eat it, you deserve what's going to happen to you.
Mhm. It's not pleasant.
That's actually a pretty interesting piece of tech. Like, how did they figure out that water could make food cook?
That was
like
actually something I think they originally came up with for NASA.
Yeah.
Get,
Yeah.
get a hold of some quicklime and add water to it.
But here's
Or some
the
hot sauce.
last food item in here is recovery trail mix with pretzels. 300 calories.
Mm.
And we
I
were
bet that ain't
only
bad.
860 calories.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, okay.
I've just found, and now this little piece of cardboard is what replaced the cardboard box that the MRE main course used to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And according to this, the caloric information for the tortellini is 260 calories for one pouch. That should bring us up to almost an even 1,000.
1,100.
Mm.
Good job without writing it out the whole time, Mando. Yeah, 1,100 calories. So I've counted the calories over and over and over as I've been issued these things, and it's common to end up with 900 calories. This is one of the much more calorically rich ones. But to cover Domi's comment earlier, they do issue them in different ways. This issue, when it's in this range, is meant to be a meal replacement in a busy day. It's not meant to cover you all day. They do have a different type that they issue for, where one is actually good for one day. If your commander tries to issue one of these a day to you, you're going to have a lot of troops fall out because you can't function, not in the field environment with this kind of.
Right. The
Not
daily
for
caloric
more
intake,
than a day or two. Yeah.
The daily caloric intake's what, about 2,000, 2,500 calories a day, something like that.
I think it's supposed to be about 2,500 to 3,000 according to.
Well, and this is for somebody that's not in action. If you're in action, you probably need 35 to 4,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're in like for example, the Middle East, you're going to need more than 4,000 just to combat the heat and everything.
And
it takes
a
energy.
lot of water.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're
Okay.
So you'd need about 3 or 4 of those per person.
St. Louis Arch actually asks a very good question. What would it do to you?
What the
if
heater?
If I remember right, this particular MRE that I just read off tended to plug you up.
No, I think he's talking about the
heater.
heater.
Oh, the heater.
Oh, the heater, if you ate that, it gets hot with water with an expanding gas.
It's
Yeah, it's
what's the chemical in it?
it's like eating a fucking Alka-Seltzer, okay?
Yeah, but it tear your insides apart.
But it also heats up and burns you out from the inside, yes.
Oh,
It's kind of similar to Quick Clot almost.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's bad.
Here is the warning. Here is the warning label directly on the MRE water or flameless ration package. And I'm going to read this verbatim. Warning. Vapors released by the activated heater contain hydrogen, a flammable gas. Do not place an open flame in the vapor. Vapors released by activated heater can displace oxygen. When 10 or more heaters are used inside a vehicle or shelter, ensure the ventilation system is operating or a top hatch or door is open. Hot water leakage can burn and cause a cold weather injury. Use caution if carrying activated heater in pocket. After heating, the MRE or the heater bag and MRE pouch will be very hot. Use caution when removing MRE pouch from bag. Discard the heater and bag after use. Do not drink the water remaining in the bag or use it in food option. Heater and its byproducts are not intended for human consumption.
I like to overfill them because it actually would burn them out faster. It was safer. A lot of people would get scared because mine would blow up bigger, and they're like, "You overfilled it again, didn't you, Nichols?" And I was like, "It works better this way, in my opinion. If you put the smaller amount in, it'll burn for hours, and what are you going to do with it for all that time?"
Well, okay. Brian, Cliff, did you two ever have a crazy Seaburn NCO?
No.
No, I can't say I have.
Nichols, I know in the time we worked together, you didn't have one. In the period of time when we weren't working together, did you have a crazy Seaburn?
A crazy Seaburn? Oh, you mean like CBRNE?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time I finally had a crazy one, I ranked them, so it didn't really matter.
Okay. So, have you guys ever seen a Seaburn decide to play with his MRE heaters?
Nope.
I think
I haven't seen
may
these
know where
skills
this is
used to playing.
going.
This goes into places I can't talk about.
Yeah,
Does this include
I have,
Tabasco
but I know.
sauce?
Say that again, Nichols.
But if it's clear enough for what I can't talk about, I'll say what I tried didn't work.
All I will say, all I can get away with saying on the YouTube platform without it risking being accused of certain istic activities is certain crazy seaburns have learned how to make reproductions of official ordnance used in training environments using the contents of that bag.
Jamo talked about
suggestion,
this.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah, Jamo talked about this one night, but he made them into shit bombs.
So it's more of a prank.
No, they weren't a prank. This was a terroristic opportunity that he used against somebody that buddy fucked him. So,
Ooh.
Brian, I saw the look on your face. You knew exactly where this was going, didn't you?
yep.
And this is when I
Kind
know
of
why
like
it says, "Ooh,
kind of
it's
like
all
when
sticky."
we go to the gas chamber, right?
Exactly.
Oh, I have a fun story on that one if you want to hear it. So you're not supposed to go
Yeah,
in
we
there.
can- we can close out with
Recently
that.
had serious dental work. So
Yep.
he had his, I don't know if he had his molars removed or something else, but apparently CS gas and molars get together and create those really bad things like you didn't take care of your wounds.
Mhm.
He got dry socket and he was messed over for months.
Oh,
But you know what? He went to that gas chamber saying, "Hey, I'm tough. I'll be fine." No,
yeah.
no.
He thought he was.
It whipped him up for months. Took him
Dry
down.
socket's no fucking joke, man.
No.
I didn't get it, but holy crap, that was one you didn't want to mess with.
Yeah, I've heard the horror stories about dry socket. But gentlemen, we've been going for about an hour and 50 minutes. I usually try to close out at about 2 hour mark. So I'm gonna let everyone give a closing statement. It can be on any of the topics that we have talked about. I will bring you up full screen. Then when you're done, I'll send you to the backstage and let the next one in line go. So Outlaw, you're the first one up.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Valentines originally when we started the stream. Personally, as a single bachelor, don't see the point in it. Never have seen the point in it. If you want to show somebody you love them, I think that's something you do on a day-to-day basis. I don't think we need to set aside one day out of the year to show somebody that. And the fact that we have people in this culture that are conditionally meant, that their brains are conditioned to think that way, that one day proves to them just everything is beyond me. I don't understand it, but yeah, man. You know what I was going to say about it. I don't care about it. It's just another corporate holiday. It's a waste of time. Show people you love them every day of the week, and yeah, that's my final thoughts, brother.
Mhm.
All righty, I'm going to send you to the backstage. Okay, Tommy, you are up.
Oh, you're putting me up. I came in late. Oh,
That's fine.
cacao nibs. They're not the same as cocaine. This is what chocolate comes from, and you can make tea from it, and it's better than any Valentine's Day chocolate. There you go.
All right, I'm sending you to the back. All right, Cliff, any final thoughts?
You know what's going to happen if you eat a whole MRE. Prepare accordingly. That's it.
I'm sending you to the back, man. All right, Brian. First of all, thank you for this being the first time coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. I would say that just be careful with that heat with your MRE heater, and don't let it touch your Peter.
Anything further?
That's it.
Alrighty. And trading nickels.
I just want to tell Tommy, thank you for mentioning cacao nibs, because I make tea all the time with mint, and I've been using instant cocoa, the hot chocolate, and nibs would probably be a huge upgrade for health. So thanks for that. As far as Valentine's Day, my wife and I chose not to partake in the crazy restaurants and the commercialism. We played with it a bit for the kids so they wouldn't feel left out. And to whoever said it, you're absolutely right. When you have people that love you, you love them, show them every day. You don't need a special day for that.
All right. Anything further, buddy?
I just wish I had something funny like everyone else for final thoughts.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and send you to the backstage. You can stick around for some after party chit chat, or you can duck out. Either way, I'm glad you decided to jump on this evening, man. It was
Thanks,
an
man.
honor to have you.
Honored. Thank you.
All right, well, my final thoughts are they've actually kind of already been hit on by most of the other guys. Valentine's Day, it's for a bachelor, especially a long-term one, it's hard. For a long-term single lady, it's hard. Seeing people enjoying that which you have wanted to enjoy but haven't been able to, it grates on you. Stay strong. Every day you're still above ground is a day you can make better than the day that came before. Do not take a permanent solution to a temporary problem, as so many people like to say. Well, I try not to get overly religious on you all, because I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm just going to say this. God be with you. And I hope to see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more humorous of a show and a little less whatever this was. So again, thank you all for coming by and burning a couple hours this evening. See you next time.